So it's Thursday evening and it's time for my next injection of Zepbound 5 milligram. So I thought I'd just take you guys along with me as I do the injection. And then I wanted to talk about different injection sites. And I also want to give you just a couple of tips that I've learned through 7+ months now on Zepbound of how you can use different injection sites to kind of manage side effects, especially when you're titrating up. And if you're new here, my name is Tamara, and I've been on Zepbound for over 7 months now, and I'm down about 38 pounds at this point. I'd love for you to join me on my journey to lose 100 pounds, ideally. And I'd love you to hit the subscribe button and the like and comment below and tell me what dose you're on, or if you're just starting. Got my Zepbound 5 milligram. I've already taken the vial out. So I use the vials that are direct from Eli Lilly. And they also send you, upon request, I think it's about $5 more to get the month's worth of syringes. And they also send you these little alcohol prep pads. Okay, so I just washed my hands. Very important first step. And then there is a little cap on the vial that you just remove. Snap that off. Open up the syringe. And then open up my alcohol wipe to have that ready and set it on top of its wrapper. Just take the end off of the syringe, take the other end off of the bottom. And then with the vials, they are one-time use. So once you puncture this vial, that's it. They don't have any preservative in them. So it's definitely not recommended to puncture the vial more than once because you can introduce bacteria and then you're injecting that into your body. So definitely don't do that. One-time use. You can pull some air into the syringe and then inject that into the vial. And that's supposed to help create a better vacuum, I think it is, and make it easier to draw the fluid up into the vial. So I pull a little more than 50 units out, and then I just press the plunger down a bit to make sure I'm getting any air bubbles out and waiting to see that liquid come out the end. All right, so I'm crouched down here, but I'm gonna stand up in a second and show you. I'm gonna inject into my stomach since this is my 5th injection of the 5 milligram. And something I've found is that I have fewer side effects with the thigh injection and more with the stomach. So I'm able to use the stomach when I'm feeling like maybe I need a little more of the good side effects like appetite suppression. So I go ahead and wipe the area that I'm going to inject. Last time I did my right side, so this time I'm going to do my left. It's important to always rotate the injection site. And then you need to avoid any scar tissue. And it's probably not visible here, but I do have various scars around my stomach from surgery I had for endometriosis. Avoiding those. And you want to go at least 2 inches from your belly button. And then just squeeze. And I don't really barely feel it, just a tiny little sting. And then clean that again when you're done with the alcohol wipe. I have a sharps container that I just ordered off of Amazon, and I put my syringe in there with the others. And then I can either take this to my work that has a sharps recycle bin, or I think most pharmacies will take these as well. All right, so now that I did my injection, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the injection sites and my experience with the different sites. The upper thigh is considered the area that has the lowest absorption of the medication. So that is a site where most people, including myself, have fewer side effects. And so when I'm titrating up, like I did from 2.5 to 5 milligram, I used my thigh as the injection location for the first 3 injections that I did. Then last week I moved to my stomach as I was feeling more hunger, more food noise after that 3rd injection. So I moved to my stomach, and actually this past week I have definitely had better appetite suppression and less food noise. So that's what's worked for me. The stomach is considered to have the best absorption rate of the medication, and the upper thighs the lowest. And then back of the arm is an option as well, and I've heard that it's considered kind of between the two in terms of side effects and absorption rate, but I don't have anyone to help me inject in the back of my arm. I've seen a couple of tricks online that people like lean their arm across the back of a chair. I've tried it once and I felt like I wasn't really getting maybe all of the medication injected properly. So I've just stuck with my thighs and my stomach. And also the vials come with a little bit of extra medication in them above the 50 units that is considered the dose for the injection. So I have used this when I felt like I was starting to feel more of that hunger, more food noise, as I was ending the 5 months that I was on 2.5 milligrams. And I still had a couple of 2.5 milligram vials left. And so I didn't want to waste those. Like, this medication is not cheap. So anything I can do to feel like I'm not just wasting it, like I'm not just injecting it and not feeling any of the benefits from it. And so what I did was I took an extra, I think it was about 10 units that was in the vial. And I took that up into the syringe along with the 50 units that's in the dose. And I did find, I injected in my stomach, and I did find that I had better appetite suppression that following week. So that was just something I did to kind of bridge the gap until I was able to start the 5 milligram. And that worked well for me. And obviously, consult with your doctor before you take any of these tips to heart. But this is just what's worked for me personally. And that's been really beneficial to me to feel like I was able to bridge that gap between doses. And something I did when I was starting 5 milligrams this past month was I did the opposite. I took less out of the 5 milligram vial than the full 50 units. I took 40 units out of the vial. And that was just trying to, once again, bridge that gap between 2.5 and 5, because that is the biggest jump in doses when you're doing the Zepbound from Eli Lilly, is 2.5 milligrams to 5 milligrams. So you're basically doubling the dose. And the first time I attempted that, I had some bad, what could have been a virus. And I'm now thinking, well, maybe that was a virus, but I definitely had like really bad chills, flu-like symptoms, and it actually made me worried that it was gonna get worse. I ended up taking a few days off of work. And so I ended up actually stopping Zepbound completely for 7 weeks. And I talk about that in my very first video. I can link that here. But when I tried again this past month, I kept that in mind and I was actually pretty nervous about it. And this worked well for me as I used 40 units out of the vial when I was doing that first injection of 5 milligram. And I'm very happy to say that I've done now 5 injections, counting tonight's, and I've had very few side effects so far. So this is just something that's worked well for me and that you might consider in your own journey with consulting with your doctor. So I hope these few tips were helpful, and thank you for joining me this evening as I did my 5th injection of 5 milligram. And I'll be back on Saturday evening with an update on my weekly weigh-in. I weigh on Saturday mornings first thing. And so I'll give you an update on my weight loss for the week, if there is any, and then a decision I've made on whether or not to titrate up to 7.5 milligrams. So if you watched my last weekly weigh-in video, you saw that I was having a lot of food noise last week, and I was thinking about titrating up to 7.5, but I was on 2.5 for 5 months, and to have to titrate up from 5 milligrams after just a month would be something I would definitely not expect to have to do. So I'll give an update on that as well. Thank you so much for watching again and for following along on my journey. And until next time, let's keep moving forward together.